Minding My Business, where we're here to just build a platform for you to elevate your mindset, your life, and your business. And I missed you, Daniela. Missed you last week.
I miss you. I miss all of you guys. I'm
Awesome.
so excited to be back. Like you
Yes.
have no idea. It's going to be an amazing, amazing show today.
Yes. So we have Caitlin Flynn on, and we'll bring her on in just like 2 seconds. Caitlin is just so amazing, and I can't wait to hear just some amazing things she's going to drop on you guys. So let's accept her right now. Caitlin is one of my favorite people.
Hello.
Hello, sister.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here with you both.
Yeah, thank you.
Excited to have you.
Yay. Okay, so I just want to make sure really quickly that it's not lagging on my end because my internet is kind of spotty sometimes.
You sound perfect.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome. So you guys, for joining us, welcome to Minding My Business. This is a platform where practically everybody we bring on here, they really just stayed in their lane and created their own path. I think you're just such a strong, powerful woman. I've gotten the honor to work with you personally. Daniela's meeting you for the first time, but I know that you guys are just going to sync so well. And I just feel like what you've built today was just so powerful. And Daniela and I were talking about it, and she's like, yes, bring her on. She's going to be such an amazing, amazing episode today. And so tell us a little bit about where you currently are right now in your life. You've manifested some really amazing things in your life recently.
Yes, the most recent thing actually is a new puppy. So we'll kind of backtrack a little bit and then we'll get to that point. But my name is Caitlin Flynn. First of all, I am a 6-figure annual entrepreneur. I did build my business from scratch. But the way I did it wasn't the way that a lot of people go about it. Just to give you a little bit of backstory, not to get too deep, but I did have a pretty rough upbringing. I had a traumatic childhood. I've been through a lot in life. And what I did was I took everything that I experienced in my life and I pretty much just transformed that. And I really found a way to purpose it towards helping other people. So the way that I do it specifically is I help other people, by just relating to them, by understanding what they're going through, by helping them find purpose in themselves as well. But wow, right now I actually live in New Jersey. I moved here 2 years ago and things have honestly been really rocky since I moved here. You can ask Tanya. When I first started working with her, I was actually in this midst of absolute chaos in my life. And this was only last October, it seems like it's 5 years ago, but I was in this point in my life where I was being kicked out of a roommate situation because I tested positive for COVID. My roommate wanted me out. I moved in to my boyfriend's parents' house because housing over here is just absolutely insane. So I was living in a 3-bedroom home with his family, 5 adults, 2 dogs at the time. And right around the time that I was, coaching with Tanya, I was trying to find an apartment or a home with my boyfriend. But what was happening inside was kind of reflecting on the outside. I was so confused with, where I was in my life, where I was with my business, where I was just all around. And when we worked together, I really was able to kind of clarify things for myself. And she really helped me see, that I didn't have to get caught up in the chaos. I could create something even better from where I was. So I live in this is kind of crazy to say, but I live in a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home. It's everything I wanted, down to, the accents, the lighting, the light fixtures, just everything in this home is exactly what I wanted. And I didn't have to do anything. It came like this. And what's even crazier is my boyfriend and I were thinking about getting a specific puppy. And on Sunday, our breeder calls us and is like, hey, you know, something's not working out. The dog's not getting along with other dogs. Like, I just got this new puppy. And like, I'm wondering, would you guys be able to house this puppy for us? Because, you know, it just can't live here. It's not getting along with other dogs. So $4,000 dog ends up in our hands. And I'm just kind of like, okay, that was kind of crazy. But yes, I definitely have manifested quite a bit so far, you know, since the beginning of the year, since the ending of last year. And that's kind of where I am right now. It's just life is getting better.
That's awesome. In such a short amount of time, you know, like, I'm sure, what were your feelings like when you were going through it? Did you feel helpless? Did you feel like it was never going to end? And looking back now from where you're at now at such an amazing space, are you able to now look at the lesson that was in that current situation?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'm the type of person generally that will look at situations in life. I mean, this is from my past, just looking at things that happen in life more as lessons, more as setups rather than setbacks, because that's actually something that I was thinking about before this call. Like, your trauma can either be your triumph or it can be your tragedy. Which one are you going to choose? And for me, like, I'm always going to choose my triumph, because I know that things that happen in life, and this is something Tanya helped me out with too, but things that happen in life are there to make you stronger, are there to improve like all aspects of you, whether it's your physical, whether it's your mental, whether it's your spiritual, whether it's your emotional, you know? So that, I mean, looking back, I knew that I was going through everything I was going through and all at once, because sometimes we have to be shaken up in order to change things, you know? So yeah, that was a good question.
I was listening actually to a serum. It sounds like I'm taking like a serum. Like, I was watching all your products of what you like selling like a boss. A service, Pastor Kim, and she was talking about like presenters and people that are really like authentically there. And when we go through hardship and we're going through the deepest, darkest places, because people are only going to see you on the other side, they're going to see what you choose to share with them. Danielle and I were having this conversation yesterday on the phone about like presentations, and people see only one side, but they don't realize what it took you to build what you've built right now. And when you're going through hardship, or you're going through self-doubt, or you're feeling at a very low point, what are some tools that you use to remind yourself of your personal power?
So tools that I use, first thing is first, and again, this is something you helped me out with, Tanya, like majorly. I like to just, you know, I forget what the yoga mantra is exactly, but you said once, you know, to assume suffering or to predict suffering and just not go there, right? And I totally butchered that.
Yeah, anticipate suffering and don't go there. It's literally the exact, I memorized it. Anticipate suffering and don't go there. Like, it was the exact sutra thread. Yeah.
Right. So and that's, yeah, and it's stuck with me too. Like, that's something that really helped me out. That's, first of all, I'm the type of person that hangs on to little quotes or little mantras or, you know, affirmations. I think that's really important to hold that in your back pocket. If you're struggling with something, if you're going through something, what are empowering words that you can tell yourself that's going to flip your mindset around? Because you can't rely on people to be like, oh, are you okay today? Like, how are you doing today? You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? And then, you know, affirm for you what you need. Like, we all need to be self-sufficient in the way where we're going to be able to pull ourselves out of a place that just isn't serving us. And so that sutra was huge for me, because it was like, hold on, if I don't even go there, I don't even have to pull myself out of that place. So that's one thing is I look at my life now and I'm just like, okay, you know, what are my toxic traits? What are my toxic habits? What am I addicted to in a way that's not positive? And what do I mean by that? So, you know, some of us have these things that are in the back of our minds where we love drama or we love chaos or and we create this for ourselves. So that's the first thing, is just being able to recognize, you know, what my suffering is that I caused for myself, not going there. Second is pretty much just having a solid routine and being able to care for my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And so I have different things for each aspect of myself that helps me out with growing daily and just being aware of where I am and where I want to go. And not necessarily, you know, being pulled by what happened, because I'm somebody who definitely was so tied to my past that I was pulling it into my present, which was affecting my future because I couldn't move forward. I was being dragged back by what happened in the past, right? So something that helps me out with that, going to the gym every single day, it's a huge release. It's just a huge emotional release. I'm able to really connect with myself there. Being able to nourish myself with proper foods, proper nutrients. Again, something that Tanya helped me out with. I had no idea, guys, that based on your blood type, you have certain foods that are actually best for you. That was mind blowing. You know, in terms of mental, it's just kind of having that check-in with yourself, journaling every single day, listening to people through podcasts, audiobooks, even reading, and filling your head with that nutrients as well, because what you fill your head with is how you go about thinking, right? How you go about living, because it starts to sustain this belief system. And then finally, you know, for spiritual practices, I am religious, you know, I do believe in God, but, you know, even if you don't, just meditating, just taking that time to slow yourself down and to just be present in the moment to really just refocus yourself, you know? So those are some tools. Hopefully that kind of answered your question.
Yeah, it's what tools were you, like work for you, because this is more about you. This is more to celebrate you. And I think, you know, the guests that we have on, everybody's been saying, I mean, Daniela, would you agree? Like they're practically saying very similar things. Like, and that's what we wanted to bring awareness to, is that being a mentally, physically, emotionally strong woman in your personal power, it's not complicated. It's actually so simple that we overcomplicate it. But why are we not showing up for that aspect? And so, you know, like just hearing from yourself and others of like, what do you use personally to operate at higher levels with it you're operating? Because I mean, did it blow your mind when you're like, oh wow, this is actually like super simple? It's not magic.
Definitely. I think you know, when we're going through things, I'm that type of person. I don't know if anyone can relate here, but I'm that person who likes to complicate things naturally. You know, I did move away from that, but I just love challenge. So, you know, when you're like, oh, it's as simple as this. These are like your core things that you have to do every day. These are your non-negotiables. And, you know, it included eating, you know, sleeping, and pretty much moving my body. I was like, no, there has to be more to this. There's no way. And just doing that in and of itself was a huge shift. So it is really simple. It's more simple than we make it.
And how long did it take you to get to that stage that you're starting to see, or you were able to see the actual change? Because a big misconception is like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to journal one night and tomorrow everything's just going to be poof and better. Like, we all know it's a journey, but how long did it take for you to look back and be like, oh, wait, this is actually working. This stuff, these practices are actually changing my life?
It kind of took a little bit, because I mean, at first, like you kind of want to build on your habits, right? Like it's not just okay, I'm gonna go cold turkey and change everything. Like sometimes that happens, but majority of the time, like we build one thing and then we move on to another thing. And something that I loved was progressive habits. So how long it took me, to actually get a routine down was probably closer to like 30 days to be consistent with it. At least 30 days. And then I just started, then you start kind of like getting addicted to positive habits rather than negative habits. And so you're going to start like snowballing those things too. But something important to remember as well, and I love that you asked this question, is you're going to have hiccups along the way, or you might at least. And when you do have hiccups, it's so important to forgive yourself and to allow yourself to have that grace, because what purpose is it going to serve, or how is it going to serve you? How's it going to serve your progress if you just decide like, oh, I'm going to beat myself up and I'm going to spend all this time beating myself up? Well, then you have to spend all of that time building yourself up again. If you break yourself down, you have to build yourself up again. So it's kind of like, all right, I'm just going to give myself grace. I slipped up here, but I'm going to do better. And I have that new opportunity to do better. So that's something that was really motivating too during that process of solidifying, my routine.
What about like being around like other women? Because like we were inspired to create this IG Live, which eventually is going to be a podcast, Danielle. I don't know if I told you. Yes, this is a podcast. And this is just like our easier way, not dealing with technology so much, but kind of at the same time. We set progress goals, right? Like you're talking about progressive goals. And what inspired us really creating Minding My Business is just sometimes in life, a lot of times when you're in the growth space, you have to literally go into like ostrich mode, where you just zone in on your own lane, you get very clear, and you just start building the new, because you know that the route you're going in life is just not for you. And I know when we first met, that was the path that you were on. You're like, I just can't live life the way I'm living anymore. It's not working for me. But when you work in an industry with many different women that are just, all on social, it's so easy to get caught up in the hype, so easy to get distracted. Oh, Danielle is scared. But like, how are you able to mind your business during that adversity, when people were like trying to pull at you, or even your own self pulling at you, like maybe this isn't working for me, maybe this just, it's not I'm never going to be successful, maybe I'm never really going to have a life that I want. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely remember that point in, coaching with you and going through that point where honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do what I was doing anymore because of it. And what happened was, through a process of working with you and, reflecting with myself as well, it was kind of like, okay, well, what do you want in life? Like, do you actually want to, kind of like give up on this path because there are distractions, because there are hardships, because there are people who might not be making this path pleasant, or, do you actually see value in it? And so when that point came, it was kind of like really just digging deep inside of myself and being like, what do you actually want? Is this serving you? Like, is what you're doing right now, is the path that you're walking down right now serving you? Okay, so how do we change it if it's not? And what I discovered in the process was that a lot of things that I was kind of accepting just weren't adding up to what I wanted. And what do I mean by that? I wasn't setting boundaries. I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't have any expectations, for myself as to what I wanted with my life. And so I accepted everything that came to me. And I thought I deserved what came to me, honestly. Like, that was negative. I was like, oh, I must be attracting this for a reason. I must not be good enough. I must not be valuable enough. There must be some reason why these people are treating me this way. I must be a bad person. And really what it took was finding the value inside of myself and being like, no, you know, you have and you helped me realize this, so thank you. You have so much to offer this world. You try so hard with just adding value and love and light every single day to everybody that you encounter. You do your best, you know? And so it was kind of like looking in the mirror and finally seeing, you know, my power for its true form, and then just releasing everything else that just wasn't truth for me. And I think that was the most empowering part, was finally being able to release and breathe in this sigh of relief. Like, you don't have to hold on to everything that's not for you, you know?
Yeah, I love that you said that. Like, maybe what I'm getting, all this bad stuff, is what I deserve. Oh, Daniela asked, oh, here she is. Perfect. I just added you back on. I know. Internet.
Technology.
Technology. Don't worry. We always find a way back. That's the point of these live streams, you guys. You always got to find your way back. Like Daniela found her way back on here today.
I'm so sorry.
No,
it's
welcome back.
Caitlin said something really, really deep. Like, it blew me away. I had to write it down, but she was saying, like, there was a point in her life where, you know, and there was just so much work. Like, there's just so many conversations, but she was saying there's a point in her life where she was just attracting so many things that she didn't want, but she got to a point where she was like, maybe this is what I deserve. Maybe this is like what God is handing me because it's like my karma, or I'm like a bad person. And you know, like in your heart, it's not true, but life just keeps giving you all these things that are just like, maybe I have to accept this and like be okay with it, and all the things I don't want. And I was like, whoa.
Honestly, me today, I literally crashed parking my car this morning. Like, who does that?
You did what? Crash parking your car?
Yes, this morning was just like everywhere, but we still show up. That's the point of minding our business. My business is still showing up. Yeah, I sure did crash parking my car today. And I thought, I had that same thought, like, what did I do to deserve this? A crazy night that kind of went into the morning. But one thing that Tanya really taught me is, it's okay to laugh, Tanya. Is that if you go to
bed, we're gonna get retrograde.
Yeah, if you go to bed with all kinds of chaos going on around you, guess what's gonna come up the next morning? More chaos. So since I didn't take care of myself last night and the issues that came up, I just dragged it on throughout the day and had an accident parking.
Yeah.
All I can do about it is laugh now.
Yeah, I mean, it's never really like, the cool thing is, it's like, there's a quote I'll never forget, and I kind of like rewrote it in my head because I think it sounds better the way that I was like interpreted. It sounds better for me because it's, remember, everything's about you. It's about you minding your business and what serves you and makes you feel better, what makes you look better, and what makes you show up in life better. That's all that matters. But it was like, God gave me an opportunity, and it's called tomorrow. I'm like, F that. It's called today. Today is the new opportunity. Today is my big breakthrough. Today is my, you know, and it's like, we can course correct at any point in time. And Caitlin was also talking about, she's always taking her like past, and you were talking about, you brought your past and you projected it into your future, which created more chaos and like crash, like a literal like crash. Like, yeah. but it's like how it impacts. It's just like an analogy of like life in general. But the cool thing is, we can change all that today. Speaking of change, you talked about some of the non-negotiables that have really helped like build you. But how have you noticed, like, so there's two things. Like, one of them was you were at a really low point. Like, when we met, you were at like a really, really low point. Typically when I meet people that are at a pretty low point. But when you're at a low point, that's what I do. But when you're at a low point, you could have said no to the work. There's a lot of people I come across and they say no. So what was it inside of you, because it was also a big investment, and you're like all these thoughts of like self, but to like actually invest in yourself. And then what, how long has it been, like 5 months, like, because we haven't worked together in a while, like 5-6 months or something like that, like now it's like all of your blessings are being brought into your life.
Wait, sorry, what, can you repeat what your question was?
Oh yeah. So my question was, like, you were at that point where that turnaround point, you know, like where you're like, wait a second, this isn't the way that life is going, isn't for me anymore. We cross paths. You have the opportunity of saying no to investing in yourself, to your growth. What was it that determined the shift of you saying yes for yourself when you probably could have came up with a list of a million things of why it was necessary to say no versus a shorter list of things, reasons to say yes?
No, I mean, honestly, that crossed my mind. Investing in coaching is not an expensive thing, but it is worth it. And so what happened at that point was, you know, I kind of like, I did look in my past. I was like, when have I experienced something so, you know, extreme as this moment? Because it really was chaos, you guys. When have I been through hardship in my past? And it just so happened that there were so many things that I've been through that I survived, that I was like, okay, I survived that, I can survive this too. And I think that's actually a positive way to look at your past, is looking at what you've been through, what you've overcome. And coaching with you, investing with you, it was like, okay, so pros and cons, right? Like, I can either not do this and possibly not change my situation and not change my mindset and not change my life, or I could do this and try it out and see what happens. And I think when you decide to take that risk and you decide to take that step outside of your comfort zone, you know, 9 times out of 10, I actually want to say 10 times out of 10, you're going to experience something huge and something different. And that's what I believe, that's truly what chaotic situations bring us, is the opportunity to realize that we do need a change. And so doing the work with you, like I was just blown away by so many different moments that we shared, and so many tools that, you know, you brought into my awareness, that I'm like, holy cow, actually, like this is worth like much more than I invested. This is priceless, honestly.
I'll send you later. No, I'm just kidding.
But no, I mean,
tell people too, can you tell, because I love for people to emphasize it, because I'm always investing myself, Danielle is always investing herself, and I think it's important to hear from other people, like, has the investment you made and poured into your self-growth impacted the amount of money that's currently now in your bank account and for your own business? Like, can we talk about that for a second? Because it is about elevating your mindset, your business / bank account, and your life. Because people hear about like life and mindset, but like, okay, as business owners, we're like, okay, well, how's that going to pour into my bank account?
Right. Yeah, so money is definitely something that, you know, I have had an interesting relationship with. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it for you guys, but it's something that's always there. So yes, like working with Tanya, even though I poured out a lot to invest in coaching, you develop certain skills, you develop the mindset, you develop belief systems, and you elevate yourself in different aspects to where, you know, your bank account is going to raise as well, because of the fact that you are more confident in adding more value, because you have more tools in being a better version of yourself, and you can give that back to other people. And so, you know, just kind of really fast, like the way that I see money is, it's an exchange of value. You know, that's what it is. So if you're pouring out more value to others, and you might need value to come in, which is why I invested with Tanya as my coach. If I need value coming in, that means that I could generate more value inside to give out too. So yes, it did raise my bank account as well, because I was a better version of me, and I discovered parts of myself where I was able to give back more.
And then receive.
And have you been able to use any of the tools that you learned in business? I know, as a business owner myself, sometimes we come across situations that can be stressful, super stressful. Could you share with the audience some of the tools that you use to get over either that stress, that anger, or that hurt from maybe losing out on a deal or whatever scenario you might be in?
Mhm. I really love the power of just being able to breathe and come to like this moment. So before Tanya and I even started like any of our sessions together, she would have me, do this exercise where we put our hand on our heart. We took deep breaths in and out through our nose.
Let's show everybody.
Okay.
Let's do it together. I think we
do
can
it.
all use some deep breathing, Dan. After this story. Oh, go ahead, Caitlin. You lead it, girl. You're in charge now.
Oh man, this is putting me on the spot. Okay. So, all right. So go ahead and close your eyes. Put your hand on your chest. Close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose. Out through your mouth. Oh wait, you have to make a sound though. It has to be to release, okay? So that's important. Okay, so we're gonna do this a total of 5 times. So in through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. And then what we do is we plug our nostrils and we breathe in and out with that. Did you want to do that part as well?
Yeah, we'll do like 5. This is good.
Okay,
we all need to breathe now. Come on, even in the audience, you guys know you need it.
Yeah, no, I hope you guys are doing this. It's actually really effective. At first I was like, I don't know, Tanya, but it works. Nice. It works.
Like calmer now.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna plug your right nostril, and then you're gonna exhale and inhale, and then you're gonna plug your left, exhale, inhale, plug your right, exhale, inhale, plug your left, exhale through your right, inhale through your right, and then one more. Go ahead and exhale through your left, inhale through your left, plug both nostrils, and then tuck your chin to your chest and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're hired.
How could I forget that exercise? That's my favorite. So, yes.
It's still my favorite, and I do it probably like 5, 6 times a day, and I still needed it. So thank you for running us through that. We need to just take those timeouts and take those breaks so we can collect ourselves. So yeah, that was amazing. You're hired, girl.
Hey, it's Tanya. I'm calling a quick timeout intermission huddle, so bring it in. I'm personally inviting you to our inner circle. It's our monthly VIP meetup with other achievers just like us. Each week, I'm teaching everything you're going to need in order to be successful to step into the most elite version of yourself. I'm going to break this down play by play, the tools, the systems, the strategies, everything you're going to need in order to operate at higher levels mentally, physically, emotionally, and energetically. Look, we're in a season where the idea of full potential just isn't cutting it anymore. It's time to really be it now. So click the link in the show notes and I'll see you in the inner circle. Peace.
Breathing is proven to clear the mind and oxygenate the body. That's why literally, like, people who have Apple Watches, your Apple Watch will literally remind you to breathe. And it will tell you, breathe for 5 seconds and do this, do that. Why? Because our body needs that oxygen. You know, when you're at your desk, if you're working or at home, whatever the situation, just take the time to take a couple of actual breaths, because obviously we're always breathing, but taking a conscious breath is so liberating, so different, so clearing, that sometimes it's just needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, and speaking of like, business and leveling up and entrepreneurship and having bigger goals and dreaming bigger as you're removing your blockages, what, like people, I think a lot of people have the misinformation, like once you do the work, it like stops, like there's no more stress or you don't have to deal with like putting out fires, but they actually get bigger. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed like as you're growing? And you're responsible. How many women are you mentoring and coaching right now in your business?
There's about 1,000.
Yeah. So you're responsible for 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, what I was gonna say is it was 2,000. And so I'm gonna be transparent here, you guys. The reason why my organization decreased in size was because of my situation. Like I allowed, everything that was happening. And, obviously we just said this, it happened for a reason. And I'm grateful I went through that journey. But a lot of what happened in, the last couple of years caused my organization to decrease, because things that were happening like in my mind and in other aspects of my life just weren't converting over to being able to show up to lead the 2,000 people. So, like I said, you're gonna have road bumps in your journey, whether it be just your life or whether it be your business. And you do have to find like that light at the end of the tunnel of, okay, I'm going through this because of like something, a reason, right? But I'm sorry, I think I cut you off with your question.
No, and Daniela always reminds me, but I remember this time, Daniela. She always reminds me about asking the question about as you're growing and changing your friend circle. And because a lot of what you do, and this happens too, these are conversations I'm always having with people, and Daniela too, because we're talking about this, is like your friends end up becoming business partners or colleagues or people that you've worked or coached with, because the mindset becomes very similar. But as you're growing and expanding, sometimes those relationships also have to come to an end, because they will stunt your greatest growth and they will block your greatest blessings. So how have you been able to handle those pivotal points of transition? And I remember specifically a conversation, actually a few coaching we worked on that with, I mean, you don't have to get into specific because we're live, but whatever you want to share to give insight for people watching.
Right. So I definitely have come to points in my business where, so first of all, they're partnerships. I'm not like this, person who directly like pays people out. Like they are business owners. I'm a business owner and I'm a mentor. So they have the decision to stay or to leave, and we're partners. And so, like you said, you build these close relationships with people, and sometimes the line between mentor / partner and friend gets really blurred. And that's what happened to, several people that were in my organization. So the way that I was able to really like kind of like come back from that, first of all, what happened was there was a huge falling out. And the reason why like a lot of my organization decreased was because, there's a huge falling out between myself and a leader in my organization. We didn't see eye to eye on something. It affected not only our business partnership, but also our friendship. And so she influenced like a large part of her organization to leave too, like her team to leave too. And so when that happened, I was like, wow, I must really suck as a leader. Like, I can't believe I, got to this point where I let, you know, emotions come in the way of partnership, of business. Like, did I do something wrong? Was there a wrong turn? Was there a wrong conversation? Was I too close with this person? And I will say that I could have handled things differently. And I think if we all look back on our mistakes and regrets in life, we could do things differently, right? But the reason why we do things wrong in the first place is to learn from them. And the people who are going to stick around with you, not just in business, but in life as well, are the people who are going to give you grace, and are the people who, you know, if they decide to grow with you, are the ones that you want to keep around. Because we're all human. We're not going to see eye to eye 100% of the time. So what happened in another situation was, you know, I didn't see eye to eye with another partner. We had a falling out. It's like women in business. I love women, absolutely. But, you know, we're all headstrong in our own ways. So I had a falling out with somebody else. And we were able to, instead of like breaking off the friendship and being like, no, I'm not working with you anymore, we're not friends anymore, we were actually able to sit down and be like, why are we like this? Like, what's going on with you? What's going on with me? Not just in business. You guys, like, everything that happened in your life up until this point sometimes does still affect you and how you function, right? Like, all of that adding up to right now is why you are the way that you are today, in terms of like what you allow to govern your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, your emotions, all of it. So we had to sit down and figure out what was happening with each other in order to understand each other, in order to move forward as partners. So, you know, there's good stories, there's not great stories, but you, like, it's just a matter of having grace, you know, and forgiving, setting boundaries for sure, but not having expectations. And I truly believe that there's a difference between the two. Setting boundaries is knowing, like, you know, what you want in your life, what you're tolerating, what you're allowing, and having expectations is actually more based off of somebody else. So boundaries is internal, it's for you. And I feel like expectations is for somebody else, and you can't control anybody else. You can't control how they think, how they act, what they believe, how they feel. So the sooner you get to a point in your organization, in your business, or even just friendships in your life, where you don't expect from other people and you can truly just accept people for where they're at and where they are. And if you want to have them in your life, amazing. And if you figure that you don't, okay, as long as you can accept the fact that you cannot change them and you just have to love them for them, then awesome. And that's kind of what happened. Was we got to a point where we're like, this is what's happening, but this is what we want. And we both decided we wanted to grow. So yes, that's kind of where we are right now.
So one thing that I have been able to kind of come to terms with is like a saying, like, if you're expecting for someone to treat you the way you would treat them, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because not all of us have the same upbringing, not all of us have the same core values, and something that you find okay might not be okay for the next, or vice versa. And I feel like that goes across the board in all relationships, whether it be a romantic relationship, friendship, business, and all that. So that's pretty awesome that you were able to really put your feelings aside for that moment and come together with that business partner and go over things. Because I feel like a lot of business partner relationships end up separating or going bad because of that, because they're not able to really talk about things and see where one's coming from. Because like I said, they might be doing something that they honestly don't feel is wrong, but you might take offense to. So just having that open communication between relationships is really key to success.
I agree. I think something else that helps me out when it comes to like people relationships is you're not going to be for everyone. And this goes for so many different aspects of life, you know, business owners especially. I mean, if you are I mean, it goes into like niching, right? Like marketing. If you're trying to market to everybody in the world, you're not going to sell your product or service, right? Like we need to focus on certain people when it comes to marketing, when it comes to business. Like we have an idea of who we want to help, right? Well, the same thing goes with friendships. You are not going to get along with all of the 9 billion or whatever people that are alive in this world, and that's okay. And so, you know, the moment that you can accept that is the moment that you can kind of release like this need to please people or to be liked or to mend every single relationship and friendship. Some relationships are just meant to be here for a season, so you learn something, they're your teacher, and then you part ways, and that's okay. But you know, if you could do it gracefully, if you can kind of just release and not have to control and hold on tight to everything, you're gonna find the relationships that are meant to be in your life for the long run.
And also for those of you watching, if you guys have any questions, like we do read your comments and we will answer them. You know, we'll have Caitlin answer them if it's something specific, but you know, you guys are more than welcome to put your comments down below. We'll always like recognize and acknowledge you. And then of course, respectfully, the right questions we'll answer in alignment to the conversation. What are some of the like bigger points when you're you mentioned like exit gracefully and not being for everybody? It's funny because I just had a PR article written and they took out my tagline of the people that I want to attract. You guys know I'm like all about that AF stamp, right? They took it out. I was like, oh no, like put that back in there. I want that. I want the baddies. I want those people. I don't want people that find it offensive. Like if you find the AF offensive, you're not for me. You know, you gotta have a little attitude in you to be in my inner circle. But when you're actually big thing, and Daniela she always asks this one too. She's a little shy today. No, I'm just kidding. But she was asked this one too. You were having a lot of issues in your relationship before doing your personal growth work. Now it looks like on the outside, because we're all outsiders and we see it, but I also know from the inside, knowing you personally and you being a sister, is you really are truly happy and your relationship has completely transformed for the better, because you weren't even sure you guys were even gonna like make it through. How has like investing in yourself impacted the quality of your relationship with your partner?
So it's interesting. And the reason I say that is because, you know, like I definitely am that person that's just in our relationship. I'm like, I'm going to invest in my low power. I know that I'm always going to, you know, make good on that investment. I know I'm always going to get something out of that investment, right? And my partner isn't necessarily the same in terms of eagerly investing in his development. And so I think what was really important when it came to that was just being completely transparent and finally having a voice in my relationship. Because oh wait, can't hear, I will come back. Okay. So, you know, it was at a point where I couldn't even express how I was feeling because I was afraid. Because I was afraid that, you know, we would break up, because I was afraid it wouldn't work. And so I don't even know who I was being at a certain point. I was just like kind of being this mindless robot, if you will, of a person who was just trying to please and trying to appease. And I didn't find fulfillment in that because I wasn't voicing my needs. And so, you know, working together, I was able to discover that I did have a voice. And again, through the past trauma that was affecting me, that I was pulling into my present, I discovered that it was a long time ago in my childhood where I didn't feel like I was lovable, where I didn't feel like I was of value, where I didn't feel like my voice was necessary. I did have to be quiet as a child in order to survive some of my childhood. I couldn't have a voice. And so, you know, coming into this relationship of love it was difficult to ask for things that I needed and to actually be heard and to actually be seen. But the moment that I did, things changed because he was more understanding of what I needed and how to please me and how to make me happy. And that's all he wanted to do, right? So it was kind of like, you know, by opening up, by being this new version of myself, I also inspired him to open up and to be a better version of himself. So, you know, if you guys have partners who might not necessarily pour themselves into investing in themselves or personal development every day, and you're that person, well, you still have influence in your relationship. And it's just about sitting down, having an open and honest conversation of, again, what your boundaries are, what your needs are, what you want out of your life and also out of your relationship, which is okay to say, and see what they say. And if they're like, nope, not about it, sorry, like, you actually can't be afraid, or you can be afraid. But I hope that you decide that you are worthy enough, that you are valuable enough to find some relationship that is going to satisfy those needs or to respect your boundaries. And so as long as you have a partner who's going to work with you, and he's very willing, he loves me to death, he like wants to make me happy, he says it every day, I just want to make you so happy, I want to make things easier for you, like I want to make the best life possible for you. Like, those things mean a lot because it's like, wow, this guy really cares about me. So I think the willingness to work together is really important too.
Yeah, and overcoming your fear of asking for what you need and want, because it's like we think that people should just get it. You're talking about expectations, dropping expectations with friendships, but why do we still have these expectations on the people that are the most close, or, you know, look like they're supposed to be the most closest, like somebody you're sharing a bed with, you know? And so it's interesting because sometimes all we have to do is just speak what we need and want. And when you do the growth work, most of the time you don't even know what you need or want. So it's like figuring out your relationship with yourself first, and then everything else in your life is just a mirror and a mirror extension of what's intrinsically being either suppressed or expressed. I guess she really disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know where she went.
I was like waiting for her to come back. I'm like, where you at, girl? But yeah, I'm beyond like proud of you. I'm just so like intrigued of everything that like, you know, we're talking about right now. I'm so happy for all of your success, and you know, I see it. I see the glow in your face. I see how you move. I watch your stories. I'm watching your posts. You're just like, you know, people are like, oh, I'm a totally different person. You're actually not. You're now an expression of the truth of what you were suppressing. Like, you just had to remove things. Everybody thinks I have to like collect more. You have to just remove it, because that woman was already there. She's like craving to come out. And I think everybody, like, I'll have conversations, I'm sure you will too, and people are like, oh, well, no, I need to invest in this first. Like, you need to invest in yourself, because that's not going to get any better.
I agree. I definitely agree.
So if you were to, if you were to leave people watching now and also the replay, like something tangible, I know you led us through a breath work. Thank you. If you were to leave them something that you felt to be, I know there's so many impactful things with your growth work, but if something that was, you could leave people that you're feeling that people might need right now, what would that one thing be? Oh, Danielle is back.
Oh, yay.
You're like, yay, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, you're giving me time. Okay. Well, that is a really hard one to answer. Hi, Daniela.
Back. I dropped I dropped a big golden diamond on her. I don't know if diamonds are gold, but we'll make this one a big golden diamond. I was like, if you leave people, because like it's been 55 minutes already, it's just gone by so fast, people with like something that they can apply today that you find to be the most impactful, what people need right now, what would that be?
So I'll leave you guys with something that I've personally been kind of wrestling with myself. Tanya, first of all, I appreciate all of your kind words. I appreciate, just our relationship in general of being able to work with you. And you're right, I am such a different person than when we first started working together in October. And, you said that I'm like this expression of who I authentically truly am. But the truth is, like, there's actually more that is coming out soon. So I personally am going through this process of just to be authentic and raw and real with all of you. How would it be if I was actually to just be and share the message that I know that I'm here to share and, serve people with? And so what I want you guys to kind of like chew on as we wrap this up is I was listening to a podcast today, and she was talking about, are you truly happy in your life? And she was saying, like, we're all running out of time. Time is something we can't get back. And something that's been circulating in my head for so long is that thing of, why aren't you doing what you know you're supposed to be doing to the fullest expression of how you're supposed to be doing it? I want to challenge you guys to really just look within yourselves and figure out what that thing is that you're supposed to be doing, but there's some fear that's holding you back. I want you to ask yourself why you're allowing that to hold you back. And then I want you to ask yourself, what am I going to lose? What is it going to cost me if I don't show up as my highest, truest, most authentic expression of who I am? And what is it gonna do if I don't, right? So what would happen if I do? What would happen if I don't? Weigh those two. And like I said earlier, you're probably gonna find that by you showing up with your authentic message as you are in your most authentic, highest expression of you, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel aligned. It's going to feel right. And so I think that that's something that is coming for me personally, is stepping deeper into that. So I want to encourage all of you to do that as well with me.
Wow, you just sprinkled the whole trail of golden diamonds. I don't know if there's such a thing, but you sprinkled them all.
There's yellow diamonds, so yeah.
On people. Love it. Wow. That's so powerful. I love that. Do you want to share with everybody who she is? Who you're becoming?
Yes. Okay, so just like really quickly, because I mean, this could probably take 30 minutes in and of itself, but to kind of tap into what I'm talking about with my trauma in the past, and I'm going to share it here for the first time on social media. A lot of what I went through was dealing with abuse, was dealing with sexual abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse as a child. And so that heaviness followed me my entire life. But there came a point when I was 13 years old where things were really, really hard, where I didn't think I wanted to live anymore. And I truly contemplated, taking my own life, not being here because I felt like my mother didn't love me. So, I mean, I hate to just like throw that at you guys and be like, all right, that's it. But that's truly like in that moment where I was sitting on my floor in my dad's house, in that hallway between my bedroom and the bathroom where I was going to drown myself and take my life, I prayed to God one more time. And I was like, God, why am I here? Like, what is the reason? Because I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I don't see the point. And so clear as day, I hear a voice in my head, and it was just like, you're here to help other people. You're going through this for a reason. And ever since, childhood, I've had such a deep gift of being empathetic and intuitive. I can feel people, you know, and I help transform people in terms of their mindset, in terms of their capacity to believe in themselves, because what I felt was so deep. And so I can't say, you know, everybody experiences trauma on different levels. I can't say I've experienced the deepest of the deep trauma, but I can say that I understand and I know what it's like to be at such a low point that, you know, you don't see the hope in life, or you don't see your purpose, like everything is confusing. And so the next thing that's coming is helping people with that gift, you know, in a more direct way. So I am going to be coaching people who are going through hardships in their life, or who just want, you know, better for their lives.
And we
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me was how you said that you heard God's voice clear as day, because we actually had another guest that was saying her story, and same situation. She was to the point that she felt like she didn't want to live no more, and that she said she heard the same voice. And it's just amazing how God works in such mysterious ways, and we have to go through certain things in life to become the amazing person that He sees us to be.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Amen. Sanchez says, you ladies are speaking life. Thank you so much for you being here too, because it's your time as well. You know, Kayla was talking about time is so valuable. We always try to make sure that every time you come on these lives that you receive some form of inspiration or hope, or, you know, some tool where you can leave a better version of yourself and feel inspired, and know that now is the time that we come together and celebrate each other, because we're all designed to win. And that God voice is inside every single one of us. It's not outside anywhere. It can be expressions. You know, I feel like you ladies represent God. I feel like I'm a representation of God, and when we're connected to that light, you know, we can do so much better into the world. And so, you know, this morning I got back from yoga, and this homeless guy, I never really give people money. But something about a calling. We went to CVS, like, I don't want any money. I just want like help to buy things. So I went in, got him some supplies, and then gave him $20 cash. And I just did it. I wasn't trying to cause a scene or anything like that, but just God's voice was like, help this man. He's like, I'm with cancer. I lost everything. And it pulled at my heart. And then other people watched what I did. I said, listen, just do good today. You know, because the biggest thing is he was just going down this hole of like saying his hardship. You know, he's homeless. He had these tubes in his stomach. He couldn't afford medical care. And he was like then talking and getting bitter. And like, we can get so much bitter on our life circumstances and what happens to us. And every single person has a story. And some stories are worse off than others. It doesn't matter. Everybody has trauma. And it's not to compare trauma to trauma. Like it's not, we don't do that. But the thing is, it's like, just pay it forward. Like, heal yourself, reach out for help if you need it. And then just find the little light that there is, and hold on to it, because the world needs every single one of us to show up as our most authentic, like positive, light, God-centered self. So we're so happy that you're here and you're fully showing up as the highest expression of yourself and striving to be that. And you're just such a light. I'm so honored to know you. Daniela just met you for the first time, but I know she's like, ooh, she's already like,
Yes,
this
you are amazing, and I really do appreciate your time coming on here and serving everyone that was on our live and is going to be watching our replays. Your story is amazing, and I know it's going to resonate with somebody.
Thank you. Thank you both so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, we're so grateful you could put on today. And for those of you watching, go mind your business. Minding my business every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is also
11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
And some other time somewhere else. So make sure you check out the time zone. my business to elevate your business, your mindset, and your life. Caitlin, thank you so much for sharing your time, your story, your knowledge, your wisdom, and for sharing space with us today.
Thank you both. Have a good day.
All right. Tuesday, you guys.
Bye.
We love you. Bye.